For this week's edition of Bontis on Business, Nick, we had some troubling and somewhat surprising job numbers today. It seems like construction and manufacturing were leading the way on these losses this time around for this month. Is that a leading indicator of something wrong with our economy, perhaps?
Yeah, it's bad news. I mean, I'm not going to invent and tell you it's good news, but it actually gets worse, I'm sorry, Nick, because you can add the fact that the deficit went up to $16 billion, and you can also add to the fact that GDP went down 0.3%. So it's a triple supreme team of bad news. And if you look at the way the politicians kind of twisted it today, you had Horvath from the NDP blaming the Liberals, saying it's all because of the HST. This is why we are in trouble. Let's get real here. The situation is the market is in a big funkin' malaise. Japan had the tsunami. There was going to be problems with the supply chain. We have a lot of auto manufacturers in Ontario. They couldn't get the supplies here to Ontario in time. And let's not forget what's happening in Greece. It's not a pretty situation over there. So all in all, it's bad news, but you know what? 130,000 net new jobs year to date here in Ontario, Nick. Let's not forget the net number.
Good point. Also, Thailand has become a bit of an issue, too, on the flooding there. That could affect us as well.
That's
right. Moving on, you just touched on Greece a little bit. Of course, so much drama this week with the G20 and the president, the prime minister, pardon me, all of a sudden suggesting he was going to have a referendum. Today, the market's only ended slightly down. They think they have a little bit of confidence there, but that is a lot happening over in Greece.
What people need to realize, even if you're sitting on your couch here in Hamilton, Ontario, it matters what happens with the confidence vote tonight. Now, let's not forget, on June 22nd, a few months ago, they also had a confidence vote because that's when the trouble actually started. And Yorgos Papandreou actually won the confidence vote, 155 votes to 300. There's 300 seats in Parliament, let's not forget. He needs 151 tonight. If it fails tonight, you're going to see major problems. A tumbling of the market on Monday and Tuesday, for sure. Greece is going to have to pull out of the EU and, in fact, actually create a whole brand new currency. It's going to be the beginning of the end for them, but it's not just Greece. Italy and Spain are also in trouble. As a Hamiltonian living 7,000 miles away from Greece, I hope to God the confidence vote goes positive tonight, Nick.
And, of course, it's happening right around now, too. They've done it at midnight Greece time in order to make sure that none of the international markets are affected until the Asian markets open Sunday. So we'll be watching that one closely. Have the result, of course, for you tonight at 11. Turning now to RIM. Traders are now calling RIM a wounded puppy. I mean, we've heard about a little bit of interest, but are the vultures started to circling that company?
Yes, they have. And here I am to tell you it is now the beginning of the end. We fell below book value. And for the layman out there, book value is what the accountants believe the firm is worth if you were to sell everything, assets minus liabilities. Now, normally tech companies actually are priced higher than book value. Apple's actually trading at 5 times book value. So as soon as RIM's stock price went below $18.92, which is the book value, it sent a signal that nobody has any faith in RIM pulling out of this funk. So the bottom line is, if you want to invest in money, RIM is not the first stock you should be looking at. And secondly, if you own your BlackBerry, keep holding on to it because it might be one of the last few BlackBerries ever made over the next few years.
Well, that is a really surprising thing to say, especially coming from you. I know what a big fan you are of BlackBerries. Really quickly now, Tim Hortons this week announcing they're getting into the latte and cappuccino market. Is this a good business decision, or are they chasing a Starbucks crowd that's never really going to come to Tim's?
They're actually chasing a Starbucks crowd, but it's a good decision, and I'll tell you why. Because the average coffee is about $1.50, and you're going to Starbucks and paying $3.50 for a fancy schmancy coffee. What that means is that Tim is leaving $2 on the table for every coffee transaction. And what Timmy wants to do is prove to you that instead of paying the $3.50, you can come the Tim Hortons way and give them a little bit more of the cash in your wallet.
I think you're buying the smalls over at Starbucks at $3.50, but nevertheless, thanks for your insight once again, Nick. We'll see you next week, hopefully. All right.